Why did Tommy Brennan write 17 letters home from Vietnam, but never send the one that mattered most? The letter arrives on a Tuesday morning, 47 years too late. Sarah Brennan finds it tucked inside the pages of an old army manual that her grandson discovers in the attic, between a purple heart that never got properly displayed and a bronze star that Tommy never lived to receive. The paper is yellow with age, creased from being folded and unfolded countless times, and the ink has faded to the color of old blood. Dear Mom, Dad, and my beautiful Sarah. The handwriting is Tommy's. She'd recognize it anywhere, those careful loops and slashes that he practiced in high school when he was trying to impress her with love notes passed between classes. But this isn't a love note. This is something else entirely. This is the letter that explains everything and nothing. The final message from a boy who went to war and never came home. Sarah sits on her kitchen floor, 73 years old now, her granddaughter's children playing in the next room, and reads the words Tommy wrote in a jungle bunker 3 days before he died. Words that were meant for her eyes 47 years ago, when she was 22 and still believed that love could stop bullets and bring boys home safe. But to understand this letter, to feel the weight of what Tommy was trying to say in those final paragraphs that change everything, you have to go back to when boys from small towns thought war was an adventure, and girls waited by mailboxes for letters that would tell them everything was going to be all right. March 15, 1968, Millbrook, Pennsylvania. The telegram comes on a Saturday morning when the daffodils are just starting to push through the last of the winter snow. Sarah is in the kitchen making pancakes for her mother, humming along to the sound of silence on the radio when the knock comes at the front door. 3 sharp raps that seem to echo through the small house like gunshots. She knows before she opens the door, knows from the way her mother's coffee cup rattles against the saucer in the kitchen, knows from the sudden silence that falls over the house like a blanket. Young women in 1968 know the sound that heartbreak makes when it comes calling. The Western Union man stands on the porch in his uniform and his solemn expression, holding a yellow envelope that contains 10 words that will change everything. We regret to inform you that Private Thomas J. Brennan. Sarah doesn't read the rest. Doesn't need to. The important information is all there in the first 4 words. We regret to inform you. The rest is just details, when and where and how a boy from Millbrook, Pennsylvania stopped being a boy and became a statistic. But this story isn't about how Tommy died, it's about how he lived and what he was trying to tell the people he loved before the jungle took him forever. 6 months earlier, September 1967, Tommy Brennan kisses Sarah goodbye on the front steps of Millbrook High School. On a Tuesday morning that smells like autumn leaves and possibilities, he's 18 years old, 6 feet tall in his army dress uniform, with brown hair that won't stay combed, and a smile that makes Sarah's heart skip like a stone across water. "I'll write you every day," he promises, his hands warm on her waist, his voice cracking slightly the way it still does sometimes when he's nervous. "Every single day, I promise." Sarah touches the small gold locket at her throat, his graduation gift to her, with his picture inside no bigger than her thumbnail. "You better," she says, trying to make her voice light, trying not to think about the news reports on television every night, the numbers that keep growing, the boys who don't come home. "Hey," Tommy tilts her chin up so she has to look at him. "It's just a year. Maybe less if I'm lucky, and then I'll come home and we'll get married and have 6 kids and live in that little house on Maple Street, like we planned. 6 kids and a house on Maple Street. Dreams made of wishes and hope, and the kind of certainty that only belongs to 18-year-olds who think the future is a promise instead of a prayer." The bus to the induction center in Philadelphia idles at the curb, diesel exhaust mixing with the September air. Other boys from their high school class climb aboard, Jimmy Morrison with his varsity jacket and his confident grin, Pete Kowalski, who was going to be a mechanic before Uncle Sam had other plans, David Chen, whose parents came from China to give their son a better life than this. Tommy kisses Sarah one more time, hard and desperate, and full of all the things they're both too scared to say. Then he picks up his duffel bag and walks toward the bus without looking back, because looking back is bad luck and 18-year-old boys can't afford bad luck when they're heading to war. Sarah stands on the sidewalk until the bus disappears around the corner, her hand pressed against the locket at her throat, already counting the days until his first letter arrives. October 3rd, 1967, Fort Benning, Georgia. The first letter arrives on letterhead that says United States Army Infantry School in official black letters. Sarah recognizes Tommy's handwriting immediately, even though it looks different somehow, neater, more careful, like he's trying to make every word count. Dear Sarah, basic training is everything you'd expect and worse. They wake us up at 4:30 a.m. and run us until we puke, then make us clean it up and run some more. The food tastes like cardboard and the guys in my barracks snore like freight trains. But I'm getting stronger. I can do 50 push-ups now without stopping, and yesterday I qualified expert on the rifle range. Mum would be proud. Don't tell her about the puking part. I think about you every night before lights out, about your smile and the way you laugh at my stupid jokes, about that dress you wore to prom and how beautiful you look dancing with me under the gymnasium lights. 47 more days until I get leave. I'm counting. All my love, Tommy. P.S. I told you I'd write every day. This is day 1. Sarah keeps every letter in a shoebox under her bed, arranged by date. Each one read so many times the paper starts to wear thin along the folds. Tommy keeps his promise, a letter every day, sometimes 2 if he has extra time. Letters about drill sergeants who bark like angry dogs, about learning to field strip an M16 blindfolded, about the other boys in his unit who become his brothers in the way that only war can make brothers out of strangers. November 15th, 1967, letter 44. Dear Sarah, we got our orders today. Vietnam. I ship out next month after a 2-week leave. I'm scared, but don't tell anyone I said that. We're supposed to be brave, right? Heroes heading off to save democracy. The truth is, I don't know what we're supposed to be saving or from what. The news makes it sound like the whole world's falling apart over there. But Jimmy Morrison says his brother Mike made it through a whole tour without a scratch, so maybe it won't be so bad. 2 weeks at home, 2 weeks with you. I've been dreaming about it every night. All my love, Tommy. P.S. Day 44. Still counting. In a 1995 interview with Vietnam Veterans Today magazine, Sergeant James Jimmy Morrison would say, Tommy Brennan was the letter-writing king of our unit. Every day, like clockwork, he'd find a quiet spot and write to that girl of his back home. The rest of us would give him grief about it, but we were all jealous. Tommy had something worth writing home about. December 1967, the last leave. Tommy comes home for Christmas, looking older than his 19 years. 2 inches taller, 20 pounds heavier, with muscles that come from carrying 60-pound packs and a confidence that didn't exist before the army taught him how to be a man. But his eyes are the same, brown and kind, and full of dreams about houses on Maple Street. He and Sarah spend every possible moment together, walking through Millbrook's 3-block downtown, past Murphy's 5 and Dime and the movie theater that's showing Dr. Zhivago for the 3rd straight month. Sitting in his father's 1963 Impala at the drive-in, sharing popcorn and Coca-Cola and pretending the world outside the windshield doesn't exist. On his last night home, they park by Miller's Pond, where they've been going since they were 16. The December air is cold enough to see their breath, and the radio plays All You Need Is Love while they sit close together on the bench seat, her head on his shoulder, his arms wrapped around her like he's trying to memorize the feeling. I have something for you, Tommy says, reaching into his jacket pocket. He pulls out a small velvet box that makes Sarah's heart stop. Inside is a simple gold band with a tiny diamond that catches the moonlight like a star. It's not much, he says, suddenly shy, but when I get back, when you get back, Sarah whispers and slides the ring onto her finger. It fits perfectly, like it was always meant to be there. They make love that night in the back seat of the Impala, clumsy and desperate and beautiful, while the radio plays love songs and the stars wheel overhead. It's the first time for both of them, and the last time they'll ever see each other. January 8, 1968, Oakland, California. Tommy's last letter from American soil arrives 3 days after he ships out, postmarked from the Oakland Army base, where boys from small towns wait in transit barracks for flights to a war they don't understand. Dear Sarah, tomorrow I fly to Vietnam. I can't tell you where exactly, military sensors and all that, but Jimmy Morrison says it's hot and wet and nothing like Pennsylvania. I keep thinking about that night by Miller's Pond, about your ring and how it looked on your finger, about the promises we made to each other. Hold on to those promises, Sarah. They're what's going to bring me home. I love you more than words can say. Wait for me. All my love, Tommy. P.S. This is letter number 126, but who's counting? February 2nd, 1968, somewhere in South Vietnam. The overseas mail takes 2 weeks to reach Millbrook, so by the time Sarah reads about Tommy's arrival in Vietnam, he's already been there long enough to understand what war really means. Dear Sarah, Vietnam is like landing on another planet. Everything's green, the trees, the grass, even the air looks green sometimes through all the humidity. It's hot like you wouldn't believe, and it rains every afternoon like God's trying to wash the whole country clean. Our base is called Firebase Charlie. Don't ask me why Charlie. Nobody seems to know. It's just a bunch of sandbags and barbed wire carved out of the jungle, with helicopters landing and taking off all day like angry metal insects. The guys in my unit are good people. There's Rodriguez from Texas, who can make a decent meal out of sea rations and cigarettes. Walsh from Boston, who carries pictures of his 3 kids in his helmet. Johnson from Mississippi, who plays harmonica after lights out until the sergeant tells him to shut up. We're safe here on the base. Don't worry about me. All my love, Tommy. P.S. Letter 142, missing you more every day, but the letters change as the weeks pass. The cheerful details about the landscape and his fellow soldiers give way to shorter notes with heavier silences between the lines. Tommy writes about patrols through villages that look peaceful but feel dangerous, about helicopter rides to landing zones with names like Whiskey and X-Ray, about learning to sleep through the sound of incoming mortars. March 1st, 1968, letter 117. Dear Sarah, lost a friend yesterday. Walsh from Boston, the one with 3 kids. I can't write about what happened, but I wanted you to know that war isn't what they show in the movies. It's not brave men charging hills and planting flags. It's boys trying not to die while other boys try to kill them. I'm okay. We're all okay except for the ones who aren't. I love you. Hold on to that. Tommy. February 15th, 1968. The letters stop. For 12 days, no mail comes from Vietnam. Sarah checks the mailbox every morning and afternoon, her heart sinking a little deeper each time it comes up empty. The news on television is full of reports about something called the Tet Offensive. Cities under attack, fierce fighting throughout South Vietnam. Walter Cronkite's voice on the evening news sounds tired, defeated. It seems now more certain than ever that the bloody experience of Vietnam is to end in a stalemate. Sarah sits in her parents' living room, Tommy's ring heavy on her finger, and watches footage of helicopters and explosions and young men who look just like Tommy running through smoke and chaos. She counts the days since his last letter, 12, 13, 14, and tries not to think about Western Union telegrams and military chaplains and folded flags. February 27th, 1968, letter 17-1. When Tommy's letter finally arrives, it's different. The handwriting is shakier, and there are stains on the paper that could be water or could be something else. Dear Sarah, sorry for the silence. Things got crazy here for a while. The whole country went up in smoke at the same time, and we've been moving non-stop for 2 weeks. I can't tell you where or why, but it's been rough. Lost more friends, too many to name, good boys who'll never see home again. Sometimes I wonder what we're doing here, what any of this means. But then I think about you and that ring and the house on Maple Street, and I remember that some things are worth fighting for even when you don't understand the fight. I love you. That's the only thing that makes sense anymore. Tommy. P.S. Letter 171. Still counting, but the numbers don't matter as much as they used to. The last official letter arrives on March 10th, 1968. Letter 184, written on stationery that looks like it's been through a washing machine, in handwriting that barely resembles the careful script from those early days at Fort Benning. Dear Sarah, we're moving again tomorrow, can't say where. The jungle all looks the same anyway, green and wet and full of things that want to kill you. I've been thinking about time, about how many days I've been here, 73, and how many days until I come home, 292. But who's counting? About how time moves differently in war. Minutes feel like hours when someone's shooting at you, but weeks disappear like smoke. I've stopped numbering these letters. Doesn't seem important anymore. What's important is this. I love you. I've loved you since we were 16 and you let me carry your books home from school. I love the way you laugh, and the way you cry at sad movies, and the way you look when you're sleeping. When I get home, we're gonna get married and have those 6 kids and live in that house on Maple Street. We're gonna grow old together and tell our grandchildren stories about when Grandpa went to war and came home to Grandma. Hold on to that picture. I am, all my love, always Tommy. March 15th, 1968. The telegram arrives on a Saturday morning when the daffodils are just starting to push through the last of the winter snow. But by then, Tommy Brennan has been dead for 3 days, killed in action during a patrol near a village whose name Sarah will never learn to pronounce. The official notification is clean and simple. Private Thomas J. Brennan was killed in action on March 12, 1968, while serving with distinction in the Republic of South Vietnam. He died instantly and without suffering. Died instantly and without suffering, as if that makes it better somehow, as if the speed of dying matters more than the fact of it. Sarah doesn't cry at first, doesn't scream or collapse or do any of the things she always imagined she would do if this day came. Instead, she sits on her parents' couch, still wearing her pajamas, and stares at the telegram until the words start to blur together. We regret to inform you, killed in action, died instantly, without suffering. Words that turn a boy into a statistic, a future into a memory, a love story into a tragedy. Sergeant First Class Miguel Rodriguez, Tommy's squad leader, would write to Sarah 3 months later. Tommy was the best soldier I ever served with, but more than that, he was the best man. Always volunteering for the dangerous missions, always making sure his buddies had enough food and water, always talking about the girl back home who was waiting for him. He died trying to save Johnson, who was wounded and couldn't make it to cover. Tommy went back for him, even though the fire was too heavy. That's the kind of man your Tommy was. April 1968. The personal effects. Tommy's personal effects arrive in a green army duffel bag 6 weeks after the telegram. Sarah opens it in her bedroom while her mother stands guard at the door, keeping the rest of the world at bay. Inside, dress uniform never worn, jungle fatigues that still smell of Vietnam, a wallet with pictures of Sarah and $47 in military scrip, combat boots that will never walk down Maple Street, a harmonica that he never mentioned in his letters, letters from home, all of them, every single one that Sarah and his parents ever wrote, kept in a neat bundle tied with olive drab shoelaces, and at the bottom, wrapped in plastic to protect it from the humidity and the rain and the chaos of war, a journal with a green canvas cover filled with Tommy's careful handwriting. Sarah opens it with hands that shake like autumn leaves. Entry 1, January 15th, 1968. Arrived in Vietnam today. Country looks like Pennsylvania if Pennsylvania had tigers and was trying to kill you. Writing this for Sarah, in case something happens. Want her to know what really happened here, not what they'll tell her in the official reports. Entry 23, February 8, 1968. Walsh died today. Stepped on a mine while we were crossing a rice paddy. 1 second he was there making jokes about his kids. The next second he was gone. How do you write that in a letter home? How do you tell someone you love that their friends are disappearing, one by one like smoke? Entry 47, February 28, 1968. Been thinking about the letters I write to Sarah. All the things I don't tell her. Don't tell her about the kids with grenades. Don't tell her about the villages we burn. Don't tell her about the friends who don't make it home. Keep it cheerful. Keep it clean. Keep her believing that wars have good guys and bad guys and happy endings. But what if she needs to know the truth? What if lying to protect her is the same as lying to protect myself? The journal entries grow darker, more desperate, as Tommy struggles with the gap between the war he's living and the war he's describing in his letters home. The final entry is dated March 11th, 1968, 1 day before he died. Entry 73, March 11th, 1968. Tomorrow we go out again. Johnson's nervous, keeps asking if I think we'll make it back. Told him yes, because that's what you tell people. But the truth is nobody knows. Nobody ever knows. Been writing a different kind of letter to Sarah. One that tells the truth about this place, about what it does to boys like us, about how love is the only thing that makes sense when nothing else does, about how I'm not the same person who got on that bus in Millbrook, but I'm still the same person who loves her. Don't know if I'll ever send it. Some truths are too heavy for the people we're trying to protect. If something happens to me, I hope she finds this. Hope she understands that every lie I told was just another way of saying I love you. Present day, Sarah's kitchen. Sarah sits on her kitchen floor with the letter that arrived 47 years too late, her granddaughter's children playing in the next room, and reads Tommy's final words. The letter he wrote but never sent, the truth he carried to his grave. Dear Mum, Dad, and my beautiful Sarah, if you're reading this, then I'm not coming home. I'm sorry about that. Sorry about all the plans we made and all the promises I can't keep. Sorry about the house on Maple Street and the 6 kids and growing old together. But I'm not sorry about loving you, Sarah. That's the one thing in this whole mess I'm not sorry about. I've been lying to you in my letters. Not about loving you, that's the truest thing I've ever written, but about everything else, about how safe I am, how easy this is, how sure I am that I'm coming home. The truth is, boys are dying here every day. Good boys, brave boys, boys who had girls waiting for them and dreams about the future. The truth is, I'm scared all the time, scared of dying, scared of killing, scared of becoming someone you wouldn't recognize if I did make it home. This place changes you. It takes away pieces of who you used to be and replaces them with things you never wanted to carry. But here's what I want you to know. Even scared, even changed, even facing the possibility that tomorrow might be my last day, I'm still the boy who loves you. Still the boy who dreams about Maple Street and forever and the sound of your laugh on a summer evening. If I don't make it home, don't wait for me. Find someone good, someone who can give you those 6 kids and that little house and all the happiness you deserve. But remember me sometimes. Remember the boy I was before the war, not whatever the newspapers say about how I died. And remember this, love is the only thing that survives everything else. Wars end, boys come home or they don't, but love keeps going. Love is what I'll be made of when my body stops working. Love is what will find you in quiet moments and remind you that once upon a time, a boy from Millbrook loved a girl so much he counted letters like rosary beads. 184 letters, 104 promises, 184 ways of saying I love you. This is number 185, the one that tells the truth. All my love, forever and always, Tommy. P.S. Look for me in spring mornings and love songs and the faces of happy children. I'll be there still counting. Sarah folds the letter carefully and holds it against her chest, feeling her heart beat against the yellowed paper. 73 years old now, grandmother and great-grandmother, a life lived fully despite the boy-shaped hole that never quite healed. She thinks about the house on Maple Street that she bought with her husband David, a good man who understood that some loves don't die, they just make room for new ones. About their 3 children who grew up hearing stories about Uncle Tommy, the brave soldier who loved their mother first. About the grandchildren and great-grandchildren who carry Tommy's memory in their middle names and their bedtime stories. 1,805 letters, the last one arriving just in time for her to understand what Tommy was really trying to tell her. That love doesn't end when hearts stop beating. That truth is heavier than protection, but lighter than lies. That boys who go to war carry their love like armor, and sometimes that armor is the only thing that brings them home, even when their bodies stay behind. Sarah walks to her mailbox, the same kind of mailbox she checked obsessively for letters from Vietnam, and places Tommy's final letter inside. Not to mail it, but to honor it, to give it the journey it was meant to have, even if that journey is just from her hands to a metal box in her front yard. The afternoon mail comes at 2:30, same as always. The mailman nods to Sarah as she retrieves the day's delivery, bills and advertisements, and a letter from her daughter in California. Normal mail for a normal day, 47 years after the last letter that really mattered. But sometimes, especially in March when the daffodils are pushing through the snow, Sarah can swear she hears it, the sound of a boy's voice calling her name across the years, still counting letters like prayers, still promising to write every day. And in the space between heartbeats she writes back, letter received, message understood, love you too, Tommy Brennan, love you too. This is what survives when everything else is lost. Not the boy who went to war, but the love he carried with him. Not the letters that came home, but the letter that didn't need to. 1,805 ways of saying I love you. The last one written in a language that only hearts can read.